always hungry? I just ate 2 hours ago and I'm hungry again. This is a question we get a lot from our adrenal fatigue sufferers. I'm Dr. Carrie Lam, and this is my father, Dr. Michael Lam, who is our authority on adrenal fatigue. So why do people with adrenal fatigue have to eat so often? Why do they get this hunger?
Well, one of the problems with the body's stress response is that metabolically, our body is run on sugar. And when stress arrives, the body needs the substrate, the sugar, in order to generate the response to overcome stress. So the sugar load in our body tends to go down because it's being used up. It's like a gasoline tank. The faster you run the car, when there's more stress, the faster you run down the tank of gasoline. So therefore, the body needs to be replenished. And so for people with a lot of stress, they have to have the feeling of eating because the insulin level goes down or up. It's just modulated. So we are talking about two parts. One, the sugar level can be affected. Number two, the insulin level can be affected, of course, plus other components as well.
And do certain foods make people more hungry more often?
Well, the food that tend to be broken down faster, high glycemic foods, carbohydrates, they tend to be broken down and then they generate the energy and they leave the body. You see, the protein and the fat, on the other hand, tend to be more sustaining. So it depends on the kind of breakdown in terms of proportion. It gives you the body the different effects.
Right, that's why when you eat a piece of bread, when you eat pasta or crackers or cakes, you're hungry really soon after that versus eating a good avocado or some good protein and beans. You'll probably feel fuller longer. So what is the physiology behind the hypoglycemia? I know you touched on the sugars and the insulin and just feeling the lowness of the sugar.
Well, sugar imbalance in the setting of adrenal fatigue is not a straight hypoglycemic condition in terms of the medical terminology and nomenclature.
Meaning their sugar is not technically low in their blood.
Correct. In fact, their sugar is normal.
Okay.
But they feel irritable. They feel as if there's a sense of shakiness, jittery, not so nice, and they just feel better if they had put some snacks in their mouth on a more frequent basis. You see?
How does that happen if the sugar level is not actually low?
That is the best way to think about this is if you're coming up, let's say you're going up the roller coaster, and you are coming down in the roller coaster. Now, both at the height of the roller coaster and the bottom of the roller coaster may only be 20 feet or 30 feet. But the problem is, during this drop, you kind of feel that your heart is throbbing. You feel that your heart kind of leaves your body. It's this type of sensation that the body has to go through.
Yeah.
And this usually is auto-regulated. But if this auto-regulation is somewhat compromised, then you feel the signs and the signals the body will send you. But if you say, well, am I normal? You are totally normal.
So even though the levels might be normal, you're saying the auto-regulation, that the feeling of the jitteriness and the low sugars might still be there because you don't have the regulation.
So you don't have a problem with classic hypoglycemia. And I don't want you to think that you have a medical diagnosis of hypoglycemia. You just have, you're healthy, but you just have to reduce ability perhaps to balance the sugar in the way that's optimized for your body, the way that your body wants.
And how does this tie to this bioenergetic circuit of the neuroendometabolic stress response system?
Well, the regulation of our body's blood sugar is within the neuroendometabolic stress response rise in the circuit called Bioenergetic Circuit. And this circuit is responsible to make sure that our sugar level is balanced throughout the day. Before you eat, during you eat, and then after you eat, from one meal to another meal. And don't forget, at night we tend to fast, whether we know it or not. For 8-9 hours we have no food. So the body also has to regulate it. So this bioenergetic circuit is such a critical part, and it's all entwined into the adrenal fatigue picture because people with adrenal fatigue have a tendency to have somewhat dysregulated bioenergetic circuit problems.
So the key organs that are in this bioenergetic circuit is the one that have to do with your metabolism, right? Your liver, which metabolizes all your hormones, your thyroid, which helps you have the energy that you need, and also your pancreas, which puts out the insulin that regulates your sugar in your body.
Yeah. Most people think of just the sugar is related to insulin, but actually it's a lot more than that. You know, if you take thyroid replacement, your body's going to be on a kind of a less fatigue, more of a hyper mode, because that is the intent of the thyroid replacement. And the same thing, most people don't think of the liver as part of the bioenergetic circuit, but you know, the metabolism of compounds in the body, it all relies largely on the liver. So if the liver is not able to process the metabolites, then the energy level can be very slow. And people will complain, for example, that, I have a sluggish liver and my energy is low. So this is no surprise.
So what are other signs that the bioenergetic circuit is dysfunctional?
After food, you can feel sluggish sometimes. You can feel the need for repeat food quite frequently. You may have some kind of a dull ache in the liver area. You can feel almost a brain fog. Some migrating discomfort around the joints that's kind of moving around.
Some people have a hard time losing weight or even gaining weight.
Correct. That's another very problematic area. A sense of feeling a little jittery. So these are very subtle signs that may be a bioenergetic circuit disruption. Mm-hmm.
So what can our adrenal fatigue sufferers do if they're feeling the hunger every 2 hours?
Well, it depends on the situation. You want to first is to look at what you are actually doing currently in terms of your metabolic sugar curve. And this is usually done by a history that is in detail, because unfortunately laboratory tests, as we said earlier, tend to be normal. So by a detailed history with a knowledgeable coach, we'll be able to kind of map out your body in terms of whether it is a dominant body that needs more carbs and more proteins or more fat. And so we'll try to balance it like that. The timing, you know, when do you need more food, or if you need more food at all. Some people get a food coma, for example, after they eat. So all these variabilities have to be factored in order to structure some metabolically driven and designed diet that is right for your body. And you follow, you know, and your body will change, you know, and this is the amazing thing, is that as your body change, we will then have to adjust it accordingly. And that's why metabolic rebalancing is not easy, but it can be done, and you can get great reward if you do it right.
So you're saying if you have adrenal fatigue and you are eating every 2 hours, it just depends. It might be good to eat every 2 hours, and it might not be, depending on your body. But as you stabilize your body, your sugars and your metabolism should also get stabilized with all the hormones and nervous system.
Yeah, generally speaking, is that the stronger your body, the less disruption you're going to have. And the body kicks in automatically. So therefore, the tendency is to be more stable. But you know, everybody is different. Some people they are just fast metabolizers, and they just need to have that kind of replenishment on a frequent basis, even though they get well. But everyone is different.
Okay. So these are the reasons why you are still hungry even after eating so often.